Welcome back to Houston Life. Whether it is an A, B, or C, a school's letter grade is just part of the story. New accountability ratings show where local schools are making progress and where students may need some extra support. Spring ISD Superintendent Dr. Craig Cuellar is here. Good Reason Houston Chief Announcement Officer Kenesha Lloyd. They're both here to break it all down for us. You know, school is back in session, full swing, you guys. I want to talk about this. This is very important information because I don't even know that I knew there was a ratings system. So let's break that down and tell me what that's all about.
Absolutely. Well, accountability really shares with our community, specifically our parents and our students, the quality of the educational experience that's happening in schools and classrooms.
Yeah.
Just like you get in a report card, you know, A through F, you know, you're always striving to be on that, you know, upper tier, you know, a B and an A.
Right.
Right. And the accountability ratings are very similar. They measure various domains, everything from achievement to progress to how we are closing gaps amongst, you know, student groups. And so the Texas Education Agency has a system in place that really tells us how are we truly meeting the needs for all of our kids.
Okay.
So you are striving absolutely to be on the upper end of that accountability system, because I think the North Star goal for every district is to make sure that we have all A and B schools, so every student gets to actualize the dream of a high quality educational experience.
Absolutely. And Kenesha, when you talk about these higher letter grades, this is what parents are kind of looking for when searching for schools for their young ones, right?
Yes, correct. And we're excited to share celebrating the progress across the region that actually more students now than ever are attending A and B rated schools.
It's wonderful.
71% specifically this year. That's over 176,000 students are attending A and B rated schools. And that's in 2003, only 44%.
Yeah.
And so we're excited
it's
to
almost
celebrate the
doubled
progress.
up.
Exactly.
That's incredible. That's great news right there. And Craig, I want to talk about, though, the letter. It's not giving you the whole story, right? It's just a piece of the puzzle. So when you really break it down, where is this progress coming in and happening from?
Right. Well, the letter grade really, it kind of explains just the totality of learning, you know, when you're looking at learning across the continuum of the school year. But you're exactly right. That is just really one way to assess a child's success. But we all know every single school, every district really, you know, focuses on the whole child experience.
Yeah.
So the letter grade only captures one aspect of it. But there's a lot of other components that you want to make sure you're meeting the needs with kids on. And, you know, you want to make sure that your schools are the safest. You want to make sure that every socio-emotional need for every single student is taken care of. You want to make sure that, you know, you are looking at relationships, the social aspect. You want to look at partnerships, opportunities. The letter grade doesn't capture all of that.
Right, right.
What the letter grade will capture is, again, just really the progress and the totality of learning, you know, through mastery of concepts and very specific curriculum, you know, towards the end of the year.
Okay, it's not just the book on the cover, right? It's more than that, but that's a good place to start with the grade, and especially when it's higher. Now, Kenesha, with the progress that's happening, I know a lot of schools have been able to turn their lower grades around. How have they started to do that? How can we understand that?
Yes, we've been able to, with our early insights, identify that a large portion of the progress that we've seen is being attributed to STAR and our CCMR, or what we call college, career, and military readiness outcomes. And so we're excited to be able to help and support our district partners, such as Spring ISD, with being able to scale and build upon that progress.
Craig, I do want to mention specifically Spring ISD. You guys have seen a really good influx in these ratings, right, and these grades. Coming from that ISD, how proud are you to be able to share with everybody, hey, look what we've done. Look what we've done in this community. We've taken accountability and we've really raised these letter grades. I mean, that's got to be an incredible thing for you to know.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'd be remiss if I didn't put a plug in there for Spring ISD. Absolutely. We increased 11 points, you know, from a low D to a high C in 1 year. And I believe it was one of the highest growth districts in the city of Houston.
It's incredible.
And it's amazing because we also reduced the number of F campuses by 82%.
Wow.
82% in 1 year.
That is huge.
And then also across all 4 content areas, math, reading, science, and social studies, we increased all of our levels of learning,
Yeah.
specifically in our meets and masters levels. So we're very, very excited about the progress all of our kids are showing and all the hard work that all of our educators are doing.
I have to know, Kanisha, does this involve a lot of parents and the community to kind of get together and really come together as one to help drive these things up?
Of course, as we know, it takes a village.
Yeah.
And to be able to ensure that our students have the resourcing that they need, it takes parents, families, communities, and systems leaders to be able to come together as a unit and be able to support students to be able to see progress and outcomes.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what accountability ratings give us the opportunity to do, is have a fair standing to be able to have the same language and understand where to start the conversation.
Okay, where does that conversation start, Craig? What can we do next?
That part, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have a very good indicator of where our students finished. And so that starts already at summer school. So the planning starts heavily. And that starts at the beginning of the year. So the accountability ratings are really good to help inform families and parents because we just heard that it takes more than just our educator in the classroom. You know, we also need community support, specifically our parents. So we want to make sure we put the right supports, the right systems, the right interventions in place to make sure that every single child is exceeding, every academic opportunity.
Wonderful. Well, you guys are doing a great job. Incredible work right there. Dr. Craig Cuellar and Kanisha Lloyd, thank you guys so very much. And I love you're both in navy and red. You're matching today.
Thank you.
If you are looking to get more insight on public education in the Houston region, log on to goodreasonhouston.org.